Hey everybody, it's me, it's Undead Viking, here to review a really, really cool game for you. It's called Scoville. It's a game that is in Kickstarter right now. It is from Tasty Minstrel Games, and my good buddies Seth Jaffe and Mike Mendez were kind enough to send this off to me, and I was really excited to try this one. When I heard this was coming out, I was actually a little bit miffed, because I'm not trying to brag, but I consider those two guys who run the place. I've become fast friends with them, and I hang out with them at Gen Con every year. And don't be wrong, they've had some crummy games, so don't pin me to a wall and say, well, of course you like their games, you're buddies with them. But I mean, seriously, it's like when the game came out, I sent Mike an email. I was like, well, hey, thanks a lot for asking me to review your game, pal. And he was just like, oh, I just didn't think you'd like it or something like that. And I was like, it's like a bunch of cubes and a cool little farm and stuff like that. What's not to like? Please, send it off. Let me take a look at it. And so they hooked me up, and I played the game now with my game group several times, and we've really dug it. And so I wanted to just kind of tell you about the game and then show you how to play it, as I always do. And then if you think this is a game you want to back, you can go to their Kickstarter and you can get in on this one. Scoville is about pepper growing. It's about this like fictional. Well, Scoville is, if you know anything about peppers and you make chili and things like that, I make chili. I really like making chili. Scoville units are the rate of the burn, the fire in a pepper, and like a bell pepper has almost none. Jalapenos have a fair amount, but then when you start getting into like serrano peppers and Anaheim peppers and of course habaneros and ghost peppers and things like that, that's when things start getting the burn starts increasing and they start being very volatile. And I'm sure you've seen the videos on YouTube of the morons putting shoving habanero peppers in their mouth and then their face exploding into red steam, and so. I mean, I dug the theme. I dug the idea of it pretty much, and I like the idea of cross-referencing cross-breeding different peppers to make super hot peppers and things like that. And I like that idea very much, and so that's what kind of the game is about. It's like about planting these things. It's about harvesting. It's about cross-breeding peppers, and it's all kind of like. Well, there's a really, really cool mechanic, and I'll show it to you in just a little bit, but it's the actual harvesting of the peppers, and it's like you're actually moving your person through this garden of peppers, and then you get to harvest as you move through. But what's really cool is you have to actually plant peppers in there, and you have to actually combine the colors of the peppers and crossbreed them to make hotter and better peppers as the game progresses. And then what's really cool is that everybody uses the same garden. And so everybody kind of benefits from it, but also you kind of you can try to pin people away from the side you want, or you can try to block them with your harvester and things like that, and there's a lot of cool things in it. But I'll show you that in just a little bit. So, I mean, the game, it's from Ed Marriott. Ed, I'm pretty sure you may have designed a game prior to this. I apologize, I'm not aware of any. But, I mean, if this is your first design, man, you hit it out of the park. It's a heck of a lot of fun. But, I've kind of talked about it a little bit. It's for 2 to 4 people. I think the Kickstarter has earned enough points or money to expand to more players, which maybe, I don't know. I played it with 3, 4, and 2 players, the number of players that are available. It really, I think, plays well with a lot of people, because that's when, as you can see when I show you the garden, the interaction in the garden really starts hopping. For lack of a better term, when you have a lot of people in there, a lot of people, doing the same thing and shooting for the same goals and things like that, and getting each other's way. So, well, anyway, let me go ahead and show you how to play the game, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you why I really dig it, and then we'll hopefully, as I always say, get to a point during sometime in this little time that we're going to spend together. You'll figure out whether or not this is a game you want to add to your board game shelf. So. Or that board game shelf, or the board game shelf behind my camera. It's over there. This is like a 10 by 10 room. It's like I'm really cramped. This is where I play my solo games, so I'm surrounded by board game shelves. So yeah, someday maybe I'll turn the camera on. You can see them all. But anyway, how to play Scoville. Let's do it. This is the board for Scoville, and if you recognize the art as being kind of reminiscent of Belfort, it is the exact same artist, my understanding, whose name, of course, is eluding me at this moment. Oh, jeez. It's like a Josh Capel? I think Josh Capel, maybe, did the art for this. And my understanding is this looks pretty much like what the game is going to look like. Some different changes, obviously. This is the prototype, very high-level prototype, but a prototype nonetheless. You'll notice that the jars of peppers are actually Gerber baby food containers. Just an excellent usage of those, and great recycling purpose for them. And let me just remind you, if you are having a child or have a baby, you should save those. Or if you know somebody who's having a baby, ask them for their Gerber containers. They're awesome for holding on to game components. But anyway, regardless, the game you see in front of you is this is the field where you'll be planting peppers. These are the cards that you'll be auctioning for. These are the different chili recipes that you'll be trying to make for points. You'll notice, like, the lowest one that you have here, the Hungarian wax pepper, is worth 3. It only has 2 cubes, a purple and a yellow, whereas the Trinidad Morugo Scorpion is worth 24 points and has 4 silver peppers, the toughest pepper to get. And I'll explain how to get peppers and everything like that very shortly. There are actually a ton of these recipes that, and you draw randomly, and you pick 16 of them. And those are the only 16 you use. So there is some replayability there. Not every single recipe is going to be used in every single game. Over here, you can see the market. These are people that are looking to buy peppers. And you can see, like, some of these cards, just like this one that says, "This is wanted." If you can deliver a red and a green pepper to them, they'll pay you 3 coins and give you a brown pepper, and it's worth a point at the end of the game, you know, if they're able to do that. Something as simple as just a blue pepper. If you can give them a blue pepper, you'll get 3 coins and you'll get 1 point. You'll be planting peppers in the middle here, and I should just point out these little plaques down here with the points on them. If you're able to plant with the pepper that's on that particular plaque, you get to take that plaque and earn the points. This one with the 3 different kinds, it's just one purple, 1 green, or 1 orange. You'll take a plaque and get 2 points, whereas like here, if you're able to plant a black pepper, it's worth 6 points, and you get to take those. This is a game where you're constantly trying to figure out ways to earn points every single turn, so then at the end of the game, you'll be able to outscore your opponents and obviously win the game. These are just coins that you're using to the auction. I'm using my miniature poker chips that I've used for tons of games. I love them for using money. I should be noted that when they sent me the prototype, they actually sent me this bag of change. And Seth, Mike, you're not getting that back. I'm keeping those pennies, so thanks. So the game is pretty simple to begin with. The setup is pretty quick. Then you randomly determine player order, which I've already done. So it's green, yellow, blue, and red. If you can see this, it says planting goes this way, harvesting goes this way, and fulfillment goes this way. That's a very important thing, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. Also, at the beginning of the game, you have to plant 2 peppers, and you do that randomly. You take one of each of these, you kind of shake them up in your hand, and you drop them down. So blue and red will be the first 2 peppers in the field. Take the yellow, put it back in. To begin the game, oops, got one too many there. To begin the game, each player gets 1 of the primary colors of peppers. They get 10 coins, and they get 3 of these one-time use abilities, which I will explain in more detail in a little bit. But you plant 1 extra pepper, move 1 extra space, and finally double back once. And that's for when you're moving in the field. Now, you notice that on the back it says 4 points. If you don't use those throughout the whole game, you get to keep them. They're worth 4 points. So if you are going to use them, it's always a good idea that you keep in mind, like, is it worth 4 points for me to use this right now? So finally, I'm going to just show you this, and it'll make more sense in a little bit. Everybody gets one of these, this little almanac of peppers, and like how you breed them. So like you just cross reference between, like, see if you notice over there like green mixed with red is a brown pepper, and it's a brown pepper. But see, green mixed with green would give you a black pepper, and green mixed with orange gives you a white pepper, and so on and so forth. And you can see that. You'll also notice that brown peppers don't really mix with anything. You know, like see brown pepper, and see those X's there? So with that, and that, nothing. But another brown pepper, they give two brown peppers, a brown and a white, gives you white, and so on and so forth. You can see, so brown peppers are useful, but also they kind of stop, you know, the combination, if you will. They stop growing new and interesting peppers once you start getting to a brown pepper. But regardless, let's just move forward with how to play the game. Yeah, that'll make more sense to you here in just a little bit as far as your moves and your options and stuff like that. So, normally we do an auction to determine who the first player is, and also who gets to take one of these cards. But we aren't going to do the auction right now because of the fact that the first turn, you don't do that. You randomly select it and then you do it the next time around. But we do planting. And planting is going to go green and then yellow and so on and so forth. So, you know, you kind of look and see maybe what you want to shoot for. You want to shoot for one of these, one of those recipes over here. Do you want to shoot for peppers to turn in over there for points and other peppers? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plant this blue one right there. And so I'm just going to take these kind of randomly. The next player plants like that. Next player like so. And finally the last player will, let's do that. So now you plant the peppers. Now you will harvest the peppers. And you do the harvesting in reverse order. So whereas the first player gets to plant first, now the last player gets to harvest first. And so they take their marker and they put them in the middle of the field, like so. And they get to move 3 spaces. Now you can't double back, and you don't have to move all 3 if you don't want to. You can move less if you so desire. But for every 2 peppers that you walk between, you get to harvest a pepper for that spot. So the red guy will move here, and you don't stop in the middle. You're always staying in like the center of the aisle. So like you'll go here, and if we look, and this is, you know, just like you learned back in grade school, if you mix red and blue, what do you get? You get purple. So he'll get a purple pepper for that, and then he'll move 1 more here. Yellow and blue make green. And now his next move, he wants to maybe set himself up to, you know, set up more peppers or something like that and be able to, so he'll go there. Now there's no pepper over there, so it's not worth it. Doesn't get him anything, but at least he, you know, he's in a position now, if he can get some more peppers planted over here or something like that, then he'll have a straight shot and he'll be able to get more. I shouldn't have taken that guy. I should have taken the one off to the side, so I'll place that back there. So now blue goes, they start, and your guy stays where it is. So like the next turn, you actually move from the place that you ended up. So blue will go, let's do this. We can go 1 for a purple, 2, 3. Now it's important that you can't go through other people, and you can't end up in the same spot. So they're going to get those 2, just like the one before. And now yellow will go, and yellow has less options now, but they can still maybe possibly get 2. So they're going to go 1 for a purple, 2, 3, and they're going to get 2 purple cubes, like that. Okay, and then finally green, who's last to go, looks, and so he's kind of hemmed in here because, you know, he can't really go, you know, he can't go this way because that's blocking, and, you know, he can go here, but then he's kind of, you know, stuck because, you know, so basically he's got, you know, 1, 2, 3, he can get a green or a purple. So he's got to kind of look at what his options are, figure out what he wants to do. So he's going to just go here and stop. And he's going to get a purple pepper. So we'll take that one. And we'll put that with his peppers that he has over there. And so now that that is done, now we go into fulfillment. Now during fulfillment, there's 3 things that you can do. And you can do all of them in any order, but you can only do them once. The first thing you can do is you can try to fulfill one of these requests over here. And when you fulfill them, you get the rewards that are located on there. So looking over there, do we have, well, he could do this one if he wanted to. He's got, we have a yellow and a red. We can turn in a yellow and a red for 1 point and an orange pepper. So we could do that. But we have a purple pepper. We could turn the purple and the red pepper, and we could get 3 coins and a point and a brown pepper for doing that. Or, you know, but actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have him do that, because I'm actually going to, you have also the option, the second option you have is you can sell peppers. And for every 2 peppers that are in the field, the pepper is worth 1 coin. So if I wanted to, I could sell this yellow pepper, and because of the 2 yellow peppers that are in the field, I could get a coin for that. But I'm not going to do that either. What I am going to do, however, is I'm going to make a chili recipe, because I have a purple and yellow cube. And so I can turn that in. I get this chili recipe done. So I have 3 points, and I'll turn those peppers in, and that will be my fulfillment. So then the next player will do, you know, whatever, and like, let's just, you know, I don't have exactly what each person does. I mean, I wasn't, I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention, but I do believe one person could have done that because they have a purple, and I'm pretty sure. I think that's about it. Well, let's just, so let me turn this one in, because it's just 1 blue. That's an easy one to do. And so then that can be that. Those cards will be gone. Somebody else maybe sold some and got some money out of here or something like that. But everybody got done with their turn. So now that everybody's done fulfillment, you will do what's called a time check. Now the whole idea is that this is the morning of the chili festival, or the pepper festival. And eventually it'll be afternoon, and then it'll be the end of the game. The way to tell if it is actually moved on into the afternoon and then later on to the end of the game is you check and see how many cards you have left. And so if there are fewer cards than there are players, so this is a 4-player game, so if there were 3 or less cards over here, that means that we're moving on into the afternoon. It's almost impossible for it to happen that, like, the chili cook-off, like, there's actually less of these like available than players, but it could happen in the morning. Very unlikely, but it could possibly happen. And if that happened, then you do 1 more round, and then you just go to the end of the game. But more likely what's going to happen is those are going to get fulfilled, and you will actually replace them with these cards that are slightly higher up on the ladder. Like here, you notice that's wanted is like, these are the afternoon cards, like 3 purple peppers for that one. And then, here's one that's wanted, 1 of each of those. It's worth 4 points, and you get to pick a brown, black, or a white pepper for that. And so you can see the fulfillment is tougher, but the rewards are greater. And so then that'll be the afternoon. Plus, you wouldn't have these types of auction cards. You'd have green auction cards. And I haven't explained the auction, but basically when you win the auction, you get the peppers on the card that you choose. And so later on you can see, like, whereas those are like 1 or 2, here's one of each. Here's one that's a black pepper. Things like that in the afternoon. And so the game kind of moves into second gear, if you will, at that point. But so in this case, we're not moving on in the afternoon because we haven't gotten all those cards yet. But you do check after you moved on to the afternoon. You have to, if you have fewer chili cards, but basically you look at these 2 decks, and then if you have fewer of those than the number of players, in one of them, you play 1 more round and the game is over. If there are fewer of those in the players in both, then the game is immediately over at that point. So that's how the game actually ends. And then you would total up your points. But we're not, because obviously we're still in this opening phase. So now we're actually going to show you the auction phase. Now, auction is just like a lot of auction games. Every person decides how much they want to spend, and then they put it in their hand secretly, and they put it in the middle of the table, and they go 1, 2, 3, and then they show. And whoever bid the most doesn't automatically get the first spot. They get to pick which location they want to be. And as you can remember, like depending on where you are located on the board, and also like situationally, like if you're kind of hemmed in or something like that, maybe you want other people to move their harvesters out of the way before you go and things like that. Depending on where you want to be, sometimes you want to go and be like the person to be harvesting, and sometimes you want to be first person planting. Sometimes you want to just kind of be in the middle and just kind of let other people do, and like, but you don't want to be last. You know, you want to keep your options open. So this is actually kind of and you know, it's almost a side note that you grab these peppers up here. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes it's, you know, it's one of those things where you know, it's not imperative, I guess, or this isn't the reason why you bid what you bid. If you bid nothing, it should be noted that you don't get to pick anything. You just take the space, the first space. So, like, let's say only red and green actually bid, and both yellow and blue then didn't bid anything. What happens then is that you go by the order that they were in, and they just take the first available lowest number spot, like so. If 2 people bid and they bid the exact same amount, whoever bid whoever was ahead of the other person when they bid the same amount gets to be above that person. So if you're like, you know, in this case, like if you're bidding in this case, and yellow really wanted to make sure that they got to pick first, they got to make sure they bid more than red, not just tie, because they actually have to beat them. But after you do it, whoever bid the most money gets to pick. So, like, you know, if you pick this, you get or, you know, purple pepper. This one he gets to, you take the card and you take the pepper along with that, and then you would before the next auction phase, you would replace those cards with 4 fresh new cards, because of the fact that you want the players to be able to see what they're going to be bidding on, so they can, you know, plan accordingly and have an idea of what they're going to be like shooting for as far as the next turn goes. And that's how the game is played. You know, I mean, basically the coolest part of the game for me is really this part. You know, because later on it's like you have all kinds of different peppers, you know, planted all. I put that in there. There's all kinds of different peppers planted in all kinds of different places. People plant brown peppers purposely in like crummy places to make, because they don't mix with anything, you know, and so they purposely do that to try to mess with people. And like you'll find like certain peppers just like are more prevalent, and other peppers just don't, and like, you know, so like there's certain things that you have to kind of work around and like figure out, you know, planting a pepper is important, but, you know, so you can get your pepper in the places you want it to be, but then there's a good chance somebody might just, in their fulfillment, will just get in your way, and then you won't be able to use it. So it's this spatial kind of twisty, turny, screw each other over area is probably like the most fun part of the game, and it's probably like the most innovative part of the game, obviously. I've never played anything really like this. It's pretty awesome. So there you go. That's how you play Scoville. You know, obviously I'm pretty jazzed about the game. I really liked it, and like and the people I played it with have all really liked it as well. But let me tell you exactly why I like it, and maybe I can impress upon you why it'd be looking good on your shelf once it's published. All right? Oh, let's do that. This does not work as well as a box flip. But, you know, I mean, I don't understand the art for this. I mean, I guess it's kind of like, you know, yeah, I got, I mean, I don't know. I would have much rather than show like some dude trying to like chomp, like with a big beet red face, like chomping on a big giant like Guatemalan insanity pepper from The Simpsons. That one episode, if you remember that one. So that's my suggestion for the artwork, but they don't ever take my suggestions into account. They think I'm crazy. So, all right, well, that's how you play Scoville. I hope you dug it. You know, it's got a lot of things that you've done in a lot of different games if you've played Euros. I mean, as far as you're collecting stuff that you turn into stuff that turns into points. I mean, we've all played games like that. And, you know, so on a real base level, the game is interesting for that degree. I mean, if it was just like the harvesting or whatever of like the different here, let me grab one of these. If it was just the harvesting with the different color peppers, and just using this little pastiche color thing or whatever, I mean, that would be a pretty cool game in and of itself. I'm sure a lot of people would then say you're just being pastiche, or you're being what was that other game about art or whatever? I keep forgetting. I can't remember anything anymore. I'm getting old. But I mean, we've played farming games, obviously. I mean, Agricola, Caverna, things like that. We've definitely played games that have a farming implement. But so what makes this game a lot of fun, and what I really enjoyed, it is the puzzle of the farm, and I mentioned that in the gameplay. I like and the auction for the turn order, because of the fact that it flips. It kind of goes both ways. As far as it goes this way for planting, it goes that way for harvesting, it goes that way for fulfillment. And so going first isn't always good. Sometimes you want to go last. And a lot of times people bid to go last. And it makes sense, because there's they're going to be able to make the most points if they do it that way, because they can harvest first, and they can get out of people's ways, and they can take and stop them from getting to like certain peppers, if you will. So that is probably like the coolest part of the game. The little pathways and ways that you meander about the garden, trying to collect the peppers that you need to, you'll see, a recipe that you want. And you'll say, okay, I need to get a brown and a yellow pepper. And how am I going to do that? And then you start thinking, okay, so I go this way and that way, and I can get that. I can get a brown one, but how am I going to get that yellow pepper? I got to somehow put, either two yellow peppers next to each other, or I got to somehow later on in the game, and you'll do this a lot actually. You start using the white and the black pepper, because when they mix with the other colors, they go back to the base color, and so you can get it. And so you start, and I love that portion of the game. I love that like 2-3 minutes of staring at the board and figuring out the connection that you need to do, both planting, and you got to make sure somebody doesn't take your spot that you want, and also the path that you're going to have to take, and hopefully nobody gets in your way. I really dig the fact that you have little borders that are guarding what you have and the cubes that you have, because there's a really tense moment in any game that I play with this where you are concerned that I'm going for this, and you're like sure that person has the peppers necessary to get it, that kind of thing, and you're kind of racing to get that done, and so you're trying to hedge your bets and say, well, I'm going to go for like this insane one of every color thing. I'm going to go for this, but I'm going to make sure that I have a secondary idea as well. Like, what am I going to... I can use those peppers for something else if somebody else takes that before I can get it. Stuff like that. And it's just... That's what makes the game a lot of fun, makes the game really challenging, and makes the game kind of stand out from a lot of the other resource collecting, turn this in and get points types of games that are out there. The theme, I guess, and plus it's one of those games where the theme is like, you tell me. I guess you could, if I held you down and put a gun to your head and you did the same to me, we could come up with a theme that wasn't growing peppers in this weird field, in this weird pepper a cook-off or chili cook-off pepper celebration. But you know what? I gotta think that the designer had this idea and then made the game into the idea, because I really can't imagine anybody else coming up with this any other way. So, the game's just a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, I guess, now this is where I always say, if you like this, you'll like it, maybe. If you like games that have really... I wouldn't say this is a heavy Euro by any means, but it definitely is that medium climbing into heavy. I mean, there's definitely analysis paralysis moments, especially when you're trying to figure out how you're going to get the necessary 2 or 3 peppers you need in this particular turn to be able to make the recipe that you want. There's definitely that going on. But I'm not going to say that like it definitely moves into like super heavy terms or whatever, but it does have some nice brain crunchy moments, and it really interesting. So if you like that type of game, I think you'll like this. If you like a race type of situation, like I mentioned a few times, like trying to, get something for somebody else, and like you're kind of racing against each other to get that, like collect certain rewards. Same kind of thing. I mean, you might have gotten that in Caverna maybe like recently with the tiles and stuff like that. Also, if you like games with like a really good spatial aspect to it. I mean, in other words, and that's the moving through the garden and things like that. And plus, like, it has a nice, entertaining little way of kind of screwing each other over. Like putting brown peppers down in paths that people want to go, because then it makes it not worth their while to use it because they're not getting a pepper for those spots. And so, I mean, there's things like that about the game. So, a little bit of screw jobbiness, a lot of tactical thinking, a lot of race to the points type of situations, and like I said, just a little bit of brain crunchiness that and you put it all together, and it's actually a very, very entertaining and fun game, and also super colorful and super fun to look at too, and that goes a long way. I mean, I've always said if a game's good, it doesn't have to look good. I mean, it'll just be good anyway. But when a game looks cool and it is cool, then all the better, right? So there you go. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or concerns, by all means post those, and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. And I'm dang sure the guys at Tasty Minstrel Games or Ed Marriott will be more than willing to answer those as well if you have those questions. As always, like I already said, I greatly appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, so until next time, when you watch another one of my videos, thank you very much, and you have an awesome day. I am the Undead Viking, and this was Scoville. All right, adios. Have an awesome one.